popular demand. This is the Turnbucklepad podcast on YouTube.com. Respect wrestling or get out. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and people listening around the world, welcome back to the Turnbucklepad podcast, Season 2. As you already know, this season we're spending our time with the good old company in North Carolina, Warzone Wrestling, and so far, every single person we've met and gotten to speak to, it's been nothing but a treat and honor, and it's great to hear a different point of view and a different story. Even though we all love wrestling, we all got a different way we look at it. Today, I want you guys to welcome one of my other guests from Warzone Wrestling. He's known as the American Pitbull. He's none other than Labron Kozone. Labron, thanks for stopping on the show.
Hey, how's it going?
We're doing well. How are you?
I'm alright, man. Just chilled out at the Firestar Wrestling Academy out in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Man, this North Carolina stuff was like a real big treat for us because that state has so much wrestling history in it.
A ton of it. There's a ton of wrestling in North Carolina ready to make history, just like Warzone Wrestling.
You know, I'm kind of curious because it seems like a lot of the companies that work in the states that were really known among the territories, it seems like a lot of these guys are getting picked up now that you see on the E or something like that. A lot of them are coming out of states like that, but you still have a smaller percentage of them coming out of major cities. Any idea why you think the ratio's higher or lower?
Higher that's coming out of major cities?
Yeah, why? Well, no, it's higher coming out of like the southern states, like North Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, you know, places like that. But then you got cities like Chicago and New York. It seems like the ratio's higher for a wrestler coming out of the South or out of the territories than it does a big city.
Well, you know, I don't mean to be biased, but you know, I just believe North Carolina has some of the best wrestling available. You know, there's a number of great wrestlers that in recent has went to WWE or that are making names for themselves. A guy I used to train with personally, Manny Garcia, but a lot of people know him as No Way Jose in WWE right now. Another one is Cedric Alexander, who I've had the pleasure of being in the ring with, and he's in WWE right now. You know, I just think North Carolina is just really underrated when it comes to quality of talent.
Which is a shame too, because as I said before, it seems like those states and the wrestlers in there, along with the fans themselves, they still love wrestling for the art that it is, not the glorified corporate media stuff that we see on WWE all the time. But you understand what I mean.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
So what's been like some of your high points so far in your career?
It's hard to put a finger on it, but you know, one of the things that I must say is just being in a position where not only I can learn, but I can help other people progress in their career. This is having the opportunity to help somebody. You know, to me, in wrestling, it's not all about title shots and going against, you know, whoever's the hottest. But this is the opportunity of where I can actually be a help to somebody, whether it's in the ring and outside the ring.
Makes sense too. 'Cause that's really the only way the business is going to survive is with that mentality.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
So, and to tell us, I mean, what was the first moment in your life when you realized wrestling got you?
Oh man, it would have to be, oh god, what was it? Probably Shawn Michaels when he joined the NWO on Monday Night Raw.
Oh wow!
I was watching as a little kid. And, you know, I wasn't a big wrestling fan, but I was familiar with it because I always had the video games and whatnot. But when that happened, and I just kept watching, you know, I knew right there that I was hooked. And I believe it was when I hit the 8th grade in middle school, I decided, this is what I wanted to do. And around that time, when you're in the 8th grade, your learning process is starting to be about the future. Like they was talking to us about college and what we're going to do with our lives, what we're going to do, what we're going to choose to be. I just wanted to be a pro wrestler,
Yeah.
The teacher be like, well, you got to go to college. And I'm like, what's the college to be a pro wrestler?
Yeah.
That's my main thing. And throughout high school, it's been the same way. My head was tied in to wrestling. How could I get in the business? I contacted wrestling promoters at the age of 13. They told me I was too young. Meanwhile, I just did some backyard wrestling stuff, just trying to learn it by any means necessary until the age of 15, where I was able to do pro wrestling on my senior project at school.
That must have been really cool.
Oh yeah, it was real cool. And, I was able to take my first bump then at the age of 16. And, I've just been a part of business ever since.
It truly is a remarkable journey, isn't it?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Just, it's a lot of people that, don't get to do the things that they've always wanted to do.
Right.
Whether they didn't receive the opportunity or their health or anything happens to get in the way to where they can't do it. I run into those people all the time, though. I'm just thankful and fortunate that, that I was able to do this.
Yeah. I've always said this business offers something very unique that you can't find in any other sports industry, and that's the ability to really make an impact on a fan. In their lives, mentally, everything. And I think that's what makes wrestling so great, is that connection that could be established.
Yeah, that's right.
So, that being said, have you ever encountered some fans that weren't exactly easy to get over with?
Man, if I have, I forgot them very quickly because my great grandma used to say, I didn't know you, won't take long for me to forget you, something like that. But most of all, the fans that I ran into have been really cool. For example, I was at a wrestling show at Asheboro, and there was a fan, and I noticed that he was wearing shades, like he wasn't watching the wrestling action, but he was into it, and his best buddy was pretty much talking to him right beside him, and I was listening to him, and he was doing commentary. Comes to find out, this fan was blind.
No
but
kidding.
He was still at a wrestling show, and he was listening to the bumps, he was listening to the reaction, he was listening to the wrestler, and I was listening to the commentary guy, and he wasn't that great. Like I'm pretty sure I could do a better job than him. But, so he went. The guy that was doing commentary went to the bathroom or something like that, and I sat right beside the blind man, and I said, disrespectful. I didn't tell him I was a wrestler. I just gave him my shoot name. I said, hey, I'm here to. Is it okay for me to help you with commentary, or tell you what, or talk to you about the show? He's like, sure. And he seemed really happy that I offered to do that for him. And me, I actually have commentary experience, so I was actually able to help tell that story with the match, and he just got more, into the match. And that was probably the coolest thing that I've ever got to do in wrestling. Just do that for a blind fan, just to help him still enjoy wrestling even though he can't even see.
That speaks in volumes right there. That's like probably one of the coolest things I've ever heard happen. And in this business, man, a lot of cool things happen, but sadly, just like most of the markets, the positive and the good things aren't always put out there like the negative is.
Mm-hmm.
We love hearing stories like that. It's always an eye opener. When your heart's in the right place, the world's unlimited. You can do anything you want. Doesn't matter where you're at.
Yes, sir, that's true.
So tell me, what are some things about wrestling that you do like now compared to what you were learning when you first got into wrestling?
Well, one of the things that I like about North Carolina wrestling is that there's a lot of quality places to run. To learn. And it almost seems like in North Carolina there's a training school on every block.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people look at that as a bad thing, but I look at it as a good thing because you're learning different styles of wrestling, and just given the opportunity to, improve yourself as a wrestler. When I first got into it, there used to be some training sessions where I would be there and my trainer wouldn't be there, and I'd be the only trainee. I'll just go to training and nobody shows up, nobody's there to open the door. And then there'll be other training sessions where I'd be the only trainee there, and not even my trainer would show up, but some guy that, claims to be a trainer comes and, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, everybody has like a different training technique. Or a designated trainer aren't there, it's whoever they're just going to fill in for them, but not knowing what classes are where, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, it was just tough for me when I first came in to get knowledge. And thinking how hungry I was back then, that was all I wanted. I wanted somebody to, point me to the direction. And that's the reason, honestly, where I got to where I've gotten, because I noticed that where I got started, I noticed that there was people that was better than me. And, excuse my grammar if,
that's all right.
if it's down. But when my first time seeing Trevor Lee, people like that from CWF Mid-Atlantic come to my home promotion and just have great quality matches, I'm asking them, where do you guys train at? And when they say CWS in Burlington, I say, okay, I'm going to make it a goal for me to attend some of their training sessions. And thankfully I was able to do that for about 2.5 years. But right now it just seems like there's a lot of different places to learn at. That's got to be probably the biggest change that I've noticed.
Yeah, I think the way training's done nowadays and what's being taught, I think it's gotten so blurry and mixed up with trying to take the values of the traditional days and apply them to the modern days. But there's so many things that are so different, things are so blurry. I think it plays a factor into times like what you're describing.
Mm-hmm.
So and a lot of people have always said that the Athletics Commission needs to come back. Do you think if they came back, they would actually help straighten everything out?
I really don't think so. I'm not a big fan of the Athletic Commission. I heard stories of promoters in South Carolina that's got fined over $3,000 just because a referee takes a bump outside of the ring. Of course, it would weed out a lot of companies, which will take away competition, but at the same time, I believe that's why North Carolina is so hot, because South Carolina and Virginia is regulated with the Athletic Commission, but North Carolina is not regulated. There is wrestling opportunity everywhere.
Right.
I think that plays a major role in why North Carolina wrestling, in my opinion, has gotten 2 times better or 3 times better since I came into this business.
Well, that's good to hear. That's really good to hear. I'd like to see some of that stuff get rubbed off onto some of the major cities like New York, Chicago, Atlanta. Cities and those places like that. I mean, there is wrestling, but it seems like it's watered down or it's just not really appreciated. Maybe it's the big city. Maybe it's the environment that plays a factor on it. Do you think environments and states play a factor on the success of a business?
I believe it does. I believe it's a mixture of everything. Me, I'm not a wrestling know-it-all. I can't say wrestling isn't working for a certain reason, but I know that there's a group that's still out there that are still wrestling fans, and if you're a promoter, you're just gonna have to find them. And not everybody that goes to wrestling shows are wrestling fans. A lot of people just looking for something different to do.
Right.
A lot of people just want something to laugh at. Regardless of what it is, they're going to buy a ticket. So,
Yeah, and it's amazing, too, how some fans show up to shows claiming not to be fans, end up leaving, walking out as a fan.
Oh, yeah. And that's where, good talent comes in hand. And I look at a lot of the growing promotions around here that focus on quality of wrestling. And I will say Warzone Wrestling is a definite one of these promotions where you'll have a group of fans that come in that, they're expecting it to be the worst of the worst because maybe the show's in a rundown National Guard Armory or old club bar that nobody goes to. And then they sit there and they see the wrestlers that are in action, and these guys are good, and the fans are going home like, wow, that's better than what they have on TV right now. We're going to have to come back.
I've always said support the indies. I've always said support the indies, man, because you get it's so much more fun in the independent seeing local shows than it is going to like a major show like WWE or something like that. I'm not knocking the brand, but you have so much more fun at a local show than you do going to a giant arena, having to wait in line through hundreds of people, then trying to find your car and paying outrageous prices. You can spend that money, go to a local show. You have a better time.
Oh yes, it's a lot more fan interactive.
Yeah.
You're up close and personal. There's a better chance of somebody doing a 450 and landing on your lap than on television. Yeah, I enjoy independent professional wrestling. I'm able to. I'm different. A lot of people just like one certain type of wrestling, but me, I'm able to enjoy all different flavors of the ice cream. You know what I mean?
A true wrestling fan does.
Oh yeah. I can get into the old school wrestling. I can get into the new school wrestling. Try to be old school. I can get into the lucha libre. The strong style, or the PWG style.
Right.
Let's see, and even the WWE style. I can get into that. So yeah.
You sound like a wise man who does his homework, and fans, that's a key essential to almost anything you do in life. You're going to do something, do your homework, get educated, and make sure you know what you're doing.
100%, and exactly, that's anything in life that you decide to be doing. My dad, he's an owner of a group home, and he told me this past week, in about 10 years, he's going to pass down the business to me because I'm paying more attention to it than my other siblings.
Okay.
And that can potentially be a big money-making business. So as much time that I put into wrestling, I need to put into that if I want to be successful at that business. So, that doesn't just apply to wrestling. Anything that you're doing, even if it's just being a delivery driver at Pizza Hut, you figure out everything about being a delivery driver. Be the best motherfucking driver you can be, and figure out how to get that tip money better than your coworkers.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Strive for the best.
Oh, yeah.
Check it out, LeBron. We got a question we ask all our guests, and we have been asking this question for the last 4 seasons of the Turnbucklepad history. So the question is this. What advice would you give to somebody that wants in the business or somebody that's new in the business?
Most importantly, I tell people to, keep their personal lives, get their personal lives straight before they try to pursue this. because pro wrestling is great, but for a lot of people's cases, it's only a dream. In my case, pro wrestling is a reality. But it's a reality because my personal life can allow it to be a reality.
Right.
I have a roof over my head. I don't, I'm not in debt as far as, I don't have to worry about any kids or anything. A lot of people have more obligations that they need to tend to, whether maybe it's their age and they're worried about their health, maybe it's their family, maybe they have a job occupation or a type of ministry that they need to attend to first.
Mm-hmm.
But 100% make sure your personal life is straight and that you have room to adjust. And if you're already in the business, just stay humble, stay healthy, and stay hungry.
You should literally make a t-shirt out of that last line you just said. Stay healthy, stay hungry, stay happy.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir.
Well, fans, this is going to wrap up our time with Mr. Labron Kozone today. We want to take this time, though, to thank you for coming on to the show. If fans wanted to follow you or keep up with you, how can they do that?
You can find me anywhere on the internet. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. When you search Labron, it's Labron. When you search Kozone, it's Kozone. It stands for Knockout Zone. You can find me at Warzone Wrestling. Just search Warzone Wrestling, Fayetteville, North Carolina. You should find me out there. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure having you. That concludes our time this week, fans. Stay tuned. I'm your host, Mike Stover. This has been my guest, the American Pitbull, Labron Kozone, and we're out.
Peace out.